The last active monarch of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, Cleopatra VII Philopator reigned from 51 to 30 BC. She belonged to the Ptolemaic dynasty and was a direct descendant of Ptolemy I Soter, and Alexander the Great companion and Macedonian Greek general. Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire after Cleopatra's death, bringing to an end the last Hellenistic kingdom in the Mediterranean and the period that had persisted since Alexander the Great's rule. She was the only Ptolemaic empress to learn and speak Egyptian, while speaking Koine Greek as her primary tongue. When Ptolemy XII Auletes was forced into exile to Rome in 58 BC due to an uprising in Egypt, his rival daughter Berenice IV succeeded to the throne. Cleopatra is thought to have traveled with her father during this time. When Ptolemy returned to Egypt in 55 BC with help from the Roman forces, Berenice was slain. The combined rule of Cleopatra and her brother Ptolemy XIII began with his death in 51 BC, but a dispute between them resulted in an outright civil war. Pompey, a Roman statesman, fled to Egypt after losing the Battle of Pharsalus in 48 BC in Greece to his adversary Julius Caesar. Prior to Caesar's invasion and occupation of Alexandria, Ptolemy XIII had Pompey ambushed and killed at the request of his court eunuchs, who had been an ally of Ptolemy XII in politics. The Ptolemaic main advisor, Potheinos, saw Caesar's terms as favoring Cleopatra, so his men surrounded her and Caesar at the palace after Caesar made an attempt to unite the feuding Ptolemaic siblings. Ptolemy XIII perished in the 47 BC Battle of the Nile. Shortly after the siege was broken by reinforcements, Cleopatra's half-sister Arsinoe IV was ultimately exiled to Ephesus for her part in carrying out the siege. Caesar established joint rule for Cleopatra and her brother Ptolemy XIV while continuing a relationship with Cleopatra that gave birth to Caesar Ion. In 46 and 44 BC, Cleopatra visited Rome as a client queen and lived in Caesar's house. She appointed Caesar Ion co-ruler as Ptolemy XV following the murder of Caesar and Ptolemy XIV in 44 BC. Cleopatra supported the Roman Second Triumvirate, which was made up of Octavian, Mark Antony, and Marcus Aemilius Lepidus, Caesar's grandnephew and heir, in the civil war between the liberators in 43 to 42 BC. The queen had an affair with Antony when they met in 41 BC in Tarsus. At her urging, he executed Arsinoe, and during his conquests of the Kingdom of Armenia and the Parthian Empire, he grew more and more dependent on Cleopatra for financial support and military assistance. Alexander Helios, Cleopatra Selene II, and Ptolemy Philadelphus were proclaimed kings of several once under Antony's triumviral control provinces by the gifts of Alexandria. The final battle of the Roman Republic was brought about by this incident, their marriage, and Antony's divorcing of Octavian's sister Octavia Minor. In 32 BC, Octavian waged a propaganda war, expelled Antony's supporters from Rome, and launched war on Cleopatra. The naval fleet of Antony and Cleopatra was destroyed at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, and in 30 BC, Octavian's armies invaded Egypt and defeated Antony, forcing him to commit suicide. According to common perception, Cleopatra poisoned herself to death when she learned that Octavian intended to take her to his Roman triumphant procession. Ancient and contemporary works of art continue to honor Cleopatra. A typically negative opinion of the queen was established by Roman historiography and Latin poetry and was present in later literature from the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. Her representations of ancient cultures in the visual arts include Roman busts, paintings, sculptures, glass carvings from cameos, Ptolemaic and Roman coins, and reliefs. She was the subject of numerous works in Renaissance and Baroque art, including operas, paintings, poems, sculptures, and theatrical tragedies. During the Victorian era, Cleopatra has become a symbol of Egyptomania in popular culture. In more recent years, she has appeared in Hollywood movies, Hollywood applied and fine arts, burlesque comedy, and brand icons for commercial goods.